Hello, hello, hello to all of my wonderful friends out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Create the Life You Love with Georgia Woodbine podcast and the Chapters Network. I am your host, Georgia Woodbine, and I am super excited to share conversations with you with successful entrepreneurs, business owners that provide you with content and give you action steps and strategies and techniques on how to really grow in life and business because that's what this podcast is all about. It's about sharing good information. Feel free to share your comments, to ask questions. That's what we're here for. The experts are here to answer all of your questions. Now, let me just tell you again, the purpose of this podcast is to share the knowledge, it's to support and empower you in business and to really help you move forward and live in your highest potential and create the life you love because that's what it's called, create the life you love because it's all about that. Remember to like, to subscribe, and to share this podcast with every single person that you know. And don't forget to go to my website, georgiawoodbine.com. We would like to welcome our guest, Mr. Perry DiNapoli. Perry DiNapoli and family have celebrated 30 years of business in catering and hospitality in the hospitality industry in 2021. They have been able to expand their reach and expertise throughout the country. Along the way, Perry has ventured into Anthony's on Broadway in White Plains, two cafeterias, and with the family, two traditional restaurants, Angelina's and the Old Stone Mill in Tuckahoe, before setting his sights on his most recent ventures, the Briarcliff Manor, the Pleasantville Manor, and the Somers Point. He and his wife, Vincenza DiNapoli, they work in the Briarcliff Manor, and he has a whole lot going on, and I'm just like super excited to get him to share his expertise and his knowledge about the hospitality industry. Welcome, Perry.
Thank you, Georgia. And this is an absolute pleasure for me to not only be interviewed and to be spending a Friday night with you and a glass of wine, because why not? But
And my club soda.
our friendship goes back about 12 or 13 years now. And we've gotten to know each other well over the years. And so it's my ultimate pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me, and happy to share anything I can with young entrepreneurs and people who want to, create the life that they love.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know how busy you are. Why don't you start out a little bit with telling us your backstory,
Sure.
and not only your backstory, but how you ended up where you are and why you do what you do.
Okay. Well, we don't have enough time in this 30 minutes to tell that entire story. But I will tell you that from a young age, I wanted to be in the hospitality industry. It was one of the only things that excited me. I came from a family. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. My dad owned so many different businesses, and he was a second generation entrepreneur. So I had a chance to see, his dad and his family had multiple businesses while I was growing up. So the bug bit me very early on, but I didn't like the businesses that they were in. They were in construction and, carting businesses and things like that. And I said, you know what? That's just not for me. So at a very early age, I told my dad I wanted to go work in the restaurants. And that didn't go over very well. But I stuck to my guns. I did it. And at the age of 19, which is many, almost 40 years ago, I acquired my first job and fell in love with hospitality and the entire industry. But it wasn't just that. I wanted to own my own. I wanted to set that bar higher and do things for myself, because I felt that I had a lot to offer and that I would never, ever achieve my goals by working for someone else. So that was my path. And at the age of 26 years old, when back in 1991, my brothers and I got together and we bought our first business, which was Anthony's Deli in Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your hometown.
Yes.
And it was an amazing, amazing deli. It was an amazing time. I was broke. I never worked so hard for so little my whole life, but you know what? Fine. and so many things that formulated over that first 5, 6, 7, 8 years as we were trying to find our path. From that, I developed an amazing outgoing catering business, which has now brought me to where I am today. I
Mhm.
also developed a fantastic gift basket business that opened up doors to me I never thought existed. It was just a really great time, and to do it at that age, so young, and with a young family and all of that, it was a lot of stress. And looking back at it, it might have been tough those days, but it was the greatest time I ever had. From that, I ventured into some on-premise catering operations. My first one was up in White Plains. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, that's a picture you put up there. My wife and my daughter, who are by my side all the time.
Mhm.
We had a fantastic time in White Plains. We built a great company called Anthony's on Broadway. From that, we ventured into a couple of cafeterias. We had, again, a great experience. I ran the largest cafeteria in Westchester County for a couple of years. Enjoyed that a lot.
Mhm.
Just kept learning and kept trying to find my path because I really didn't know what my path was yet. But I figured if I worked harder than everybody else, I'd figure it out. And that's kind of was our secret to success. My wife came on board with me about 7 or 8 years in, and she's
Mhm.
been working with me since around the year 2000. And so
Wow.
about 22 years. And we
Wow.
are married now. Next month is our 35th anniversary.
Oh,
So
wow. More
it,
power to her.
yeah,
All right.
it's interesting working together for 22 years and being married for 35 years. It's a lot, but we found a way to make it work.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah. So along the way, we came across other opportunities like Angelina's in Tuckahoe
Mhm.
with my brothers, the Old Stone Mill also with my brothers and my family,
Mhm.
um, and then went had some really great years and had some really not so great years, but just
Mhm.
kept pushing forward. But as you mentioned, our latest ventures, which came up in 2015, I
Mhm.
had the opportunity to take over the Briarcliff Manor, which at the time was called, the name was Maison Lafitte back in the day, and it had gone through a couple of different. There's a photo of it there when it was
Mhm.
a famous, the inspiration for Tara.
Mhm.
It was just an amazing property that was sitting dormant up in Briarcliff Manor, and I saw a vision of a fantastic wedding venue, and
Mhm.
I really didn't know the wedding business. It was something I had to learn. I've been a caterer for many years, but not a wedding caterer.
Mhm.
But you know what? We hit the ground running, and with the help of my daughter Adriana, who she speaks millennial, we'll say,
Mhm.
she understands the millennial bride, and we were able to find a path, and we've had some great times there. And it's been interesting. It's been an interesting 8 years. We just had last week was our 8 year anniversary, and
Wow.
it's been great. And
It's
from
eight
that,
years already since you've been there?
eight,
Wow.
8 years, yeah. And from that, we uh, 4 years ago purchased. It was called the Pinnacle. Many
Mhm.
people might know it as, but we've turned the name and we've changed the name to Somers. The Somers Point is the
Okay.
restaurant, and also
Mhm.
Somers National Golf. So we
Mhm.
have golf and the restaurant and the catering up in Somers.
Okay.
And we also then partnered with John Muscatella, a guy with a lot of experience, maybe even more so than me. We
Mhm.
partnered with him and took over the Pleasantville Country Club as well.
Wow.
So the last 8 years have been great and drove us towards this event catering, wedding catering. And we're very happy that we've done it. There's a lovely photo of
Wow.
what,
Look at
what
how
the bride
beautiful it
looks
is.
like now. I will tell you, it didn't look like that 8 years ago when I found it. It was in disrepair. And fortunately, I'm one of those people that my belief is if you're going to do something, you have to be all in. And
All
we've been all in, and we've done everything. And from day one, more important than me taking a paycheck, if we needed to paint that wall, we painted that wall. If we
in.
needed to
Wow.
put new stone in, we put new stone. We didn't even think about it. And one thing I'll say in this industry, in the wedding business specifically,
Mhm.
um, the more you do for your guests, your clients, the more they appreciate, and the more business you'll do. So I think it matters when people are looking for their specific first, the place that they want to celebrate their wedding
Mhm.
or their engagement or their anniversary or
Right.
any life event that you could think of.
Mhm.
You know, they're looking for something that they want to say. If they don't say wow, how are their guests ever going to say wow? So
That's true.
yeah, so we've worked hard to give them that wow factor, and we're very excited about it. We just going through another little nice little renovation right now as we speak. We're reopening
Okay.
again on Friday
Hmm.
with some nice new floors, new ceilings, new paint colors, new everything, and we're
Beautiful.
excited about that.
Wow. That's the team, huh?
That's the
Awesome.
team. Yep, and
Awesome.
it's been great. And there, of course, my wife to my that's on the screen left, and my daughter on the screen right.
Hmm.
They're my strength, and the rest of the team there, all the ladies who help us get the job done.
Wonderful. Of course, we know it takes a whole team to get the job done. Recent reports show that in the US, 86% of adults are willing to pay more for better customer service. What does the word hospitality mean to you?
No? Good question. So to me, and I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but
Hmm.
for me, hospitality is a very big word. It means a lot. It means from the time the phone rings, you want them to know when you answer that call, you're not the local gas station. Nothing against gas stations, but uh, you know, hello, Anthony's on Broad, on, I'm sorry, or the Briarcliff Manor, whatever name you're, hello, this is the Briarcliff Manor. How may I help you?
Hmm.
And that sets the tone for the conversation. And then next, you invite your guest, you invite your client to come and meet you at the facility. They should be greeted at the door. They should be greeted, brought in, offered a, a glass of water, sparkling water, regular water, sometimes a glass of champagne, sometimes a glass of wine, whatever it is, just a nice hospitality, kind of like what you would do if someone came to your home. That's how I feel about the Briarcliff Manor in our business. Um, the day of the event, it's a matter of them coming in, the music working and sounding good, the lighting being right, everything. And that's some of the stuff we're doing that little renovation right now. New music, new lighting, because I find
Hmm.
that very important. So you set the tone. Uh,
Hmm.
when I do a tour for my prospective clients, uh, one of the things I find very important is I like to walk them down and open the door and wish them well and say, "Hey, it's great to meet you. I look forward to working with you."
Hmm.
That to me is hospitality. It's everything in between. It's not just the day of the event. The day of
Right.
the event, of course, it goes without saying. We all know our job. I believe it's the entire process,
Hmm.
and we work hard at doing that. And it's not always easy, as you would
Right.
imagine. Dealing with the public is always brings a lot of fun challenges, a little character building challenges. But
Hmm.
it's up to us to be professional and provide that type of service.
Absolutely, absolutely. In business, there's always some challenges and setbacks. And as we know, during the pandemic, I'm sure
Mhm.
with all the hospitality industry, businesses have had some challenges. Why don't you share like some of the biggest challenges you had to face during the pandemic? And not only that, but how you recovered from that.
Sure. For this question, I'm going to take a sip of wine.
And I'm going to have some club soda.
Mm. So, okay, no one ever went through anything like this. There was nothing written in the books about this. No one knew. All I know is 3 years ago and 3 years and 5 days ago, I was in my place and one of my guests said to me, a guest at a party, said, "Do yourself a favor. Don't look at your phone." And I said, "Why?" They said, "It's going to ruin your day." And I
Oh my
went,
God.
"I guess I have to look at my phone." And it was the notice that we were being shut down. And it said 2 weeks, but I already knew they weren't going to shut us down for 2 weeks. They were going to shut us down indefinitely because it's not that easy to do and it wouldn't be worth it for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
So we woke up the next morning with no plan, didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
We, I went to work and the phone was ringing off the hook. Now,
Wow.
at the time, we had about 120 wedding contracts for that
Wow.
year and the year after, and then, of course, a host of other party contracts. And everyone called that week, and everyone wanted to know what we were going to do. we of course had no answers,
Right.
and it was one of the most difficult things you can imagine, trying to deal with all these people going through that. Now, we were in a little bit of a different situation than most others because with us, okay, my daughter was also getting married that June,
Wow.
and we knew. So we were a COVID wedding family, and
Mhm.
so we kind of understood both sides of it, and I think that was very helpful for us to find paths for everyone.
Mhm.
We tried to allow, we try to give everybody the best options possible. Most of the time, I'll tell you, it did work. Sometimes it didn't work, but it was very difficult. And over the course of the next 9 months, we moved 150. We rewrote 150 contracts.
Oh, wow.
It was painstaking. It was problem solving. It was definitely the most difficult time I've ever had in business. And my staff, my daughter, Emily, Kelsey, these ladies were invaluable in
Mhm.
helping us find the path to getting through it. I will say we did 29 weddings during COVID, and that
Wow.
any other caterer in the area. And a lot of people said, "Why are you doing that? It's not worth the risk. It's not worth the problem. It's not worth this." But my
Right.
attitude was, I said to every bride, every couple, but I said to them, "It's your wedding. You decide. Do you want
Mhm.
to go forward under the current strict rules, or do you want to postpone to next year? It's your wedding. It's not my wedding. You decide." And
Mhm.
a lot of couples wanted to go forward, and they said, "You know what? We're going to have 50 people. We're going to do what we have to do, and that's it." So we worked through it, and we were featured on Channel 12. Did a feature on us. Channel 4 did a feature
Oh,
on us
wow.
because
Wow.
we were the one of the few companies that found the path. It
Right.
wasn't lucrative. It was get it done, and
Mhm.
you know what? Those one of those things that you don't even think about the checkbook. You just get it done. You get
Right.
through it, and we were thankful that we did. And I think that resilience that we showed helped us
Mhm.
because we came out of it on the other side pretty strong. And
Wow.
um, with three locations, I will say, tale of three different places. Brian
Right.
was because it was already 4 years old and had
Mhm.
momentum. We came
Right.
through it pretty quickly. Pleasantville was only 3 months old when COVID came.
Okay.
Somers was 9 months old when COVID came. I didn't have the momentum there. I didn't have the business. So those two were a little bit harder of a struggle.
Right.
But fortunately, we came through it took us a little longer, but we found our
Mhm.
path. And, again, they always say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Well,
That's it.
strong.
That's it. That's always the case.
And I will say, I really thank the families that we worked with. We were blessed to have fantastic families and who understood, and it was a pleasure. A lot of crying, tears of
Mhm.
joy and tears of sadness, but a lot
Yeah.
of crying happened. Yeah,
Wow. Wow. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that, most people had a choice. You could let the pandemic paralyze you, or you can let the pandemic liberate you. It's a choice, and you chose liberation. So that's fantastic. Now, let's talk a little bit about networking because I know that's really big in business. What would you say, how important is networking to building your business?
invaluable. Um, in 1991, networking was not even a term. It was no one knew about it, no one heard about it. It was really not there. It was a totally new concept.
Mm-hmm.
So when I bought the deli in 1991, I didn't know about it. But I was lucky enough over the next few years to meet a couple of people who brought me to a couple of business things, and things were just starting. The different organizations were just starting to take a foothold in our area. So I joined anything I could because that's just me. I like to
Mm-hmm.
meet people, and I always felt, that's uh, you know, uh, relationships matter. So I would
Mm-hmm.
find and form any relationships. But my big break, I think, really came in 2002 when I decided to join the Business Council of Westchester. and I had a chance to meet lady Marcia Gordon. We were talking about earlier. I know
Mm-hmm.
she's a friend of yours.
Mm-hmm.
She's somebody who I respect a lot, and Marcia introduced me to all the big players in Westchester County, and I had a chance to really, and I our business grew, incredible multiples because we opened up a lot of different avenues, and those avenues were opened up because of people I met through the Business Council of Westchester and other groups. So much so that in 2011, I'll never forget, I was at an event and a young lady named Georgia. I was like, wow, we have a lot to we have a lot of networking to talk about. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember we it was a fantastic time. And right around then, I decided to open up my own network group, which was called Rising Tides Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
You were one of my first phone calls, and I called George and said, "Hey, I'm going to start my own group, and I would
Mm-hmm.
like to be part of it." And we started in we launched in 2011,
Wow.
and here we are. It's 12 years later, and
Mm-hmm.
our Rising Tides Alliance group is doing absolutely amazing. We are different. Uh, we have a different idea about networking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about lead passing. Hey, you know what? Call this person for that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what a lot of people do, and I think that that's great as well. And I support anyone who does any type of networking. But our group is different. Rising Tides is all about everyone comes together, and we build and grow together.
Mm-hmm.
We support each other through business relationship, through just business ideas. We talk about finances. We talk about everything. But our real passion at Rising Tides Alliance is charity. And
Mm-hmm.
we come together and support local charities. And if you want to really get to know people, share a glass of wine and talk about their passion for charity and talk about
Mm-hmm.
what they want to give back. And we've been really blessed. I have some great people in there. I have a Jenna Roach who runs our whole organization. She's very involved, and we came
Yeah.
up with this idea this past year. We did things like we went to Marie Ferreri Children's Hospital and we donated over $3,000 worth of gifts there. We went
Wow.
to Blithedale Hospital. We went uh, last year. We actually an organization of about 30 people. We raised over $20,000
Wow.
charities. So
Networking with a heart, right?
I'm very proud of what we do. There is
Mm-hmm.
no other organization, I think, in the country that can compete with us on our level. And
Mm-hmm.
we're very excited about it. So, yes, and the relationships. So now we don't worry about passing leads, but yet from this group, I've done several weddings, I've done bar mitzvahs, I've done birthday parties, I've done anniversary parties. It really does matter. So I tell anybody who wants to be in business, if you're not networking, you're not growing.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go join your local chambers, join your local organizations. Find an organization like Rising Tides. We're open to everyone. We have no limits because we're not lead passing, so we're open to everybody. And come join an organization like that. You'll meet really great people, and you'll grow. Not only your business calendar will grow, but your social calendar will grow as well. Okay, matter of fact,
Wow.
last night, me and the Rising Tides group, once a month we get together and we go have a night out. We went to Pete Saloon in Elmsford and went for
Oh,
karaoke.
you didn't tell me about that. You didn't tell me.
You
That's
got to
like
come.
5 minutes away from me, or
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
like 8 minutes.
All right. Well, it was fun. We did karaoke last night. It was a lot of fun. Okay, and I think a month ago we went and did karaoke somewhere else, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
it's just a fun time. So
it is.
business isn't just you know cut and dry. It's everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
community service. It's getting to know people. It's service. It's when you start to make it, you give back. And one thing I've learned, and my brothers and I started this back in 1991. We never said no to a charity.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't always have money to write a check. That
Right.
wasn't what we did. But we always had a gift basket to donate, a gift certificate to the deli,
Mm-hmm.
a platter of sandwiches, whatever it took. We never said no. We just said what we could do. And now, thank God, business has been great, and we've been able to write a few checks, and it feels great.
The fruits of your labor, right? Can we put Perry's contact? Why don't you tell us where everybody can contact you? And then I have one last question, real
Sure.
quickly. Put your contact in. That's his contact information. His website, www. thebriarcliffmanor.com. He has his LinkedIn there and Instagram. Um, I would like to close with my signature question, Perry, and that is, if you were to look in the mirror, what would you tell your younger self?
Okay. Uh, I saw this question earlier, and I should have put a little more energy into it, but I wanted to be spontaneous, and I just came up with the answer. I would tell my younger self to relax and not be so serious, not worry that when will it happen? Will it ever happen? Don't worry about any of that. Just get up every day, do everything you can. Pantangeli, okay, has there is a quote, and I might screw this up a little bit, so forgive me. It says, hmm, no, I'm going to get this wrong, but anyway, the moral of it is do as much as you can for as many as you can for as long as you can, and you will come out the other side. I promise you, much happier than you started. Ah,
Exactly. There we go. Don't chase money.
no,
Chase
no,
purpose. Don't
chase
chase money. If you
100%.
focus on
Yeah.
your passion and your purpose, the money will come.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Perry, for
But one
joining
little
us.
thing, watch your pennies. When you're building your business, watch your pennies because it does matter. But don't chase the money.
Thank you so much, Perry, for taking the time out and sharing your information with us. We're so glad. You definitely got to come back again.
Yes.
But thank you so much.
It's
Until
been,
next time, everybody, this is Create the Life You Love with Georgia Woodbine Podcast. Until next time, take care.
bye bye.